Hello, in this lecture we will take a look at the logic. We will take a quick peek at the logic rather. We won't explore it too much, but it is good to know how to have a little if statement, okay? An if statement. That means we have some kind of evaluation, okay, of some logic procedure, okay? So it might be less or more, or in other words, the final result is either true or false, okay? 5 is more than 10, false. 10 is more than 5, true. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Now, first of all, I will need maybe one number for now, okay? Maybe one number. And I will do equals on my b, so I have a 1, 5. And b will be my result, my equals. Okay, so I do equals like that. And then I will do if. As you can see, if we have again several ifs. We are doing only the basic ones. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and double click that. And as you can see, it is suggested you have logical test. And then you have value if true, value if false. So our logical test is that evaluation that I was talking about. And then whatever is in these next arguments is for you, up to you to decide. Okay, it could be anything. It could be anything at all. It could be another calculation. It could be words. Okay, it could also be words. Yes. So let's do our evaluation, right? So let's do 5, okay? 5 like that. A1 is less than 10, okay? So you see I'm using these more or less signs. You can also do less than or equals to, okay? Or you can also do equals like that. 2 equal signs, okay? Like that. That means equals to 10. Okay, so let's start with that. Why not? Let's see if it functions correctly. So if true, I want to print some word, say true. Okay, like that. Like that. I don't actually need the parentheses like that. Okay. That is my output if true. Okay. And then false would be false, just like that. I close that and I'm good to go. Okay. Now I do actually have a little typo. Okay, let's see again. Okay. So as you can see, it is false. I have true and I have false. You see? Now this is not a text per se. Okay, this is not a text per se. This is just my logical output basically. Okay, so if you would be testing something more elaborate, you might use these. Now for text you do need actually the parentheses. Okay, so if I would enter it like that, let's say true, that, enter. Okay, again false. I'm having false here, so let's do false. You see, the parentheses, or rather the quotation marks in this case, they disappear. Okay, so this is meant to state that it is indeed a word. It is indeed a word. Okay, so we have what? We have if A1 equals 10. Okay, A1 equals 10. Then we print true. If it's not, then we print false. Okay, we display false, we set false, we write down automatically false, whichever way you prefer to describe it. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so that is sort of the basic thing. Now, if I do A1 is less than 10, I reevaluate it, I get true. You see, because it is indeed true. Okay. So that is basically how this whole logic thing works. Now, of course, this is something very simple, but most likely this is as far as you will need to go. Okay, you probably won't need to go too far with that, but as I have shown you previously, you can actually kind of nest these things nest. Okay, so what that means? What that means, you can check one statement in another statement. Now, this is better to see. Okay, let's see it. I'm just gonna drag it down like that. Okay, so I get another one. Okay, and I'm gonna drag the 5 as well. Okay, true, true. Okay, now I have one statement. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy this. Okay, and then I'll do this. I'm gonna paste it in here. You see, if that's gonna be the output, equals to true. Okay, if equals to true, I'm gonna print that again. As you can see, like that. If equals to true, then print true. Right, we did a little nesting right here. Okay. So A2, that's our A2 is less than 10. Okay, so it gives us true. Now you see what I made here. This is true, that is the logical value. This is not a word, okay? This is not a word. This, however, is a word, okay? So what it outputs, this first statement, it simply outputs the word. So it is not equals to that statement, okay? So instead, if I do true, let's see if I can do that like that. Yes, I can. See, it is all suggested. It's all quite nice and neat in that way. And then I can do false. Okay. And now I can enter. You see, now I get true because A2 is indeed less than 10. Therefore, I get to true. The answer of that if statement is true, and then equals to true. And then in turn, it prints true. Okay. So that is how it works. Now, one more thing we can do, I'm going to drag that again so that you can have some samples. Okay. I'm going to do, say 10. Okay. So A3, 10 is not less than 10. It's equal to 10. Therefore, it will be false. Now, in this case, I'm going to just make it more simple. Simplify like we had in the first one, okay? Just one single if statement, but I do want to show you that you can indeed do a calculation. Okay, so if it's false, we know we need a calculation, let's say. I'm going to delete that, and I can do any kind of calculation I want. Okay, so let's say I want to multiply A1, the cell A1 by A2. Okay, I enter now. And as you can see, I get 5 times 5 equals 25. So this is how you use that basic logic. Again, you probably won't need this too much, and I would say you'll probably need this for very few reasons, like giving a description on a certain result. Say, for example, a BMI calculator, right? It outputs some kind of a text to describe your BMI ratio, okay? So it's all for something simple. You shouldn't play around too much with them. You should be quite careful about them because, as you see, the more you put, the more mistakes you can make, and it's just better to avoid them as much as possible. But again, for some simple text, it's all great and good. And with that, we will conclude this lecture.